throughout the room. Give a huge cheer and please welcome to the stage, Maertin O'Donnell. Let me hear you cheer.
Hello. I told my wife that I was to come up and stand up here and talk shite for 5 minutes. She says, well, you're not going to have a problem because you always talk shite. I was reading an article in the paper the other day and it was talking about smacking kids causes antisocial behaviour. Well, I reckon that my neighbours must have got smacked a fucking lot when they were younger. You probably noticed that I've got a disability and a bit of a limp. Now, the limp's got nothing to do with my disability. It's because I've got a huge cock. The reason I know, that's my wife in the front and she's affronted. The reason I know I've got a huge cock is she told me. Well, what actually happened was I said to her, tell me something that would cheer me up but make me sad at the same time. So she thought for a second and she said, you've got a huge cock. And I thought, cool, but not as big as your brother's. Before I was married, I used to share a flat with 3 girls. I was only about 18, 19 at the time, which was obviously just having at that age. And they used to go about the flat half naked all at the time in sexy, silky, lacy underwear. You know the kind of underwear I'm talking about, the kind that sort of says shag me now, you know that kind? But other times they didn't. They went about like completely naked and they had their tits bouncing about and they had like nipples, huge nipples. They had nipples like, they were in, oh, fucking huge. They were like starter buttons on a JCB, they were that fucking big. I actually had to go to the doctor because I had a hard-on. The hard-on actually lasted 3 weeks every month. But see, in the 4th week, it was just fucking hell because the 3 of them all had PMT all at the same time. And you know, see that week, I didn't have a problem getting rid of my hard-on. One of them used to use fake tan a lot. And she would put it to the, it was an old, years ago the folk used all this brown stuff and they would wipe it on. And she would put it to the bottom of her skirt, but sometimes she would put it all the way up to her waist. So the day she was putting it up to her waist, you knew she was going out for a shag because you couldn't put it to there, because if the skirt came off then folk would see that it was fake and not real. One of the things that they used to do was to save money was they used to try and dry their underwear in the microwave to save any electricity. The problem with that was that when they were eating their porridge in the morning, they ended up picking up pubic hair out of their porridge, which was quite... Now, as I say, I'm married now, and my wife runs a cake business. She does celebration cakes, and she got a phone call from somebody asking her to do a cake in the shape of a vibrator. Now, it wasn't just any old vibrator, it was one called a Black Stallion. I don't know if any of you ladies in the audience have got one with you now or know anything about it. But it was a Black Stallion vibrator. So we didn't have one. No, that's what she tells everybody. So what I had to do was she sent me to Ann Summers to buy this Black Stallion vibrator. So here's me in Ann Summers looking about. Now my readings were a bit rubbish, so I'm having to take it out the packet. That's what I told the women anyway. I had to take it out the packet and look at them all and examine them, and I'm thinking to myself, that's quite expensive for that for a vibrator. It's actually cost more for the vibrator than it does for Jude selling the cake. So I'm like, it's a bit of a waste of money. So I says to her, see, when my wife's finished with this vibrator, can I bring it back and get my money back? And she went, aye, no problem. The strange thing was that I didn't tell her that it was for a cake, so it makes you wonder what you're allowed to do with and bring back. And I think that's just about me. But the other thing was about being disabled. I always get, when I park in disabled spaces, I always get these old folk coming up going, how are you disabled? Why are you parking in a disabled space? So if there's anybody in the audience that's disabled, or you know anyone that's disabled, they can maybe use this because it's quite handy. When they come up to you and say, what's your disability? Why are you parking in there? You can say, I'm blind, my guide dog's in the boot, and I've also got Tourette's, now fuck off. Thank you very much.
For Maertin O'Donnell!